Morgan. Mr. Morgan, public comment.
I'm Charles Morgan, representing Citizens for Environmental Cleanup, and I've been talking to the court, and appreciate the county attorney requesting an opinion from the state attorney general. We didn't get a good result from that. As a matter of fact, I think we need to ask him to rescind what he has said, because he has not addressed what the law says. House Bill 1818, Section A. And I'll read it briefly. It's a short paragraph. The Oil and Gas Division of the Commission shall develop and publish an annual plan for each state fiscal year to use the oil and gas monitoring and enforcement resources of the Commission strategically to ensure public safety and protect the environment. Public safety. In this county, we've had 10 people killed by low-frequency noise. Most people can't hear it. I'm one of the few that can. That's a heck of a price to pay to get oil and gas in this county. And that's all fine and good. They must protect us. It doesn't say from what. It's whatever is harming us. Whether it's gas coming out of their facility, or whether it's noise, or whatever it is. But they did not interpret it that way. Now, what I would propose for our county is that since the federal law was delegated to state and local governments in 1982, only 6 states picked up on that in the United States. And we weren't one of them that picks up that responsibility. And I propose that you guys consider taking up that noise authority in this county to protect our citizens. That's what we have, 17,000 in this county. Anyway, there's 27 counties in Texas with more than 1,000 gas wells. Freestone County has 3,000 gas wells. And 130 gas compressor stations are the main noise source. And these guys we can make them enclose their facility, but we have to adopt the authority for this county. I have been severely affected with brain damage back in 2007, and again with brain damage in January of this year. I couldn't hardly walk, couldn't hardly talk, and had a brain stroke. And I have to sleep under numerous protective gear just to stay in my home. Now, I was here 30 years, I've been here 30 years, but 20 years of that was before oil and gas. And we had a perfect life. We had no problems. But now everything is going to pot. We must protect our citizens. They're killing too many of us. One's too many. And they're harming others. So I propose that we had consider taking up that authority from the federal government that was delegated to us in 1982 to take over control of the noise in this county. If these guys don't want to comply, then we give them a penalty. And give a penalty big enough that it'll make them put noise barriers around their facility to keep their noise within their facility. And that's the way we need to do it to protect our people.
And it's the federal EPA that has delegated that authority, is that right?
They delegate the authority to state and local governments.
All right.
So we can, based on that, we can take up that authority, and nothing in the state says you can't.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? We do have a little person here, not a little person. We have a person here that is here for budget review, but I know that he works out of town and he's going to need to leave. We've got a long agenda. So if it would be agreeable, I'm going to ask Clint Minchie to come up and talk to us about the request he has for the budget. Is that all right with everyone? Thank you.
Well, first of all, I want to compliment you, and many of y'all know me, and I want to thank y'all for having me. They allow me to come be here. I know that y'all got a lot to do, and I appreciate that, and I'll be prompt and quick and get it out of the way. I'm here today to talk to y'all about, try to get the county to help. This, next year will be the 100-year celebration for the Freestone County Fair Association. It'll be our centennial event, and the board, the association, and I have a vision in mind of it being the biggest thing Freestone County's ever seen or heard about. In that, we went back and done a bunch of research and went back through the history books and went through. We have a lady that's going back through all that, and we discovered that where it all started was right here with you county commissioners. And when it started back in 20, the association was formed in 20. Our first fair was in 22. That's why we're naming 2022 as our centennial year. It was 2 commissioners and 1 person in the county at large, which I thought was an interesting tidbit of fact. Actually, back then they weren't even called counties; they were called beats way back in the day. But I really want to see this thing be something special, and it's going to be bigger than what the Fair Association can put together and do. And so I'm asking for y'all's help, for the county's help, and we're going to go search through other entities trying to do the best job we can to be able to put on the biggest show we've ever seen. We're trying to go back to, well, a quote they used was looking through the past to find the future. And that's kind of the vision that we have in trying to go back to our roots where it was formed. And in doing that, it's going to cost a lot. And I know that it is the county fair. And so we want representation from all the communities, from Fairfield, Streetman, Wortham to
Streetman's here. Are you listening, Mr. Streetman?
I'm here. I'm
to the smaller communities. And we want representation from every community in the county is what we're hoping for. And in doing that, it's to get the word out and everything else. I know that these days we have social media and different things like that, but there's lots of advertising out there that we're going to do and try to do that's going to be way above and beyond what we've done in the past, what we can afford to have been able to afford to do, and that's why we're here asking y'all's help. You know, we want to, years past, many years ago, there was parades where some of the parades they had were 2 miles long. I'm hoping that we go out and we are able to get wagons, surreys, stuff like that. We want representation from each community, from mayors to city councils to the county judge to the commissioners. We want to see all of them in the parade because everyone comes to the parade, and when they come to the parade, it's what you spark their interest to come out there the rest of the week. And we just, I know that another quote from way back when is, "No one man in Freestone County can successfully stage the kind of fair which you will expect to see. It's the moral obligation for every person in this area to cooperate willingly in building the greatest assembly of exhibits ever shown." And that's what I'd like to see the centennial 100th year anniversary be.
Now, can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
When this was first formed, was it mainly focused on agriculture, since that is kind of the basis of our county is the agriculture?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. In 1926, the President E. Green stated, "The object and aim of the fair is to promote better living conditions among the people of Freestone County, and especially on the farms, where people generally have the least comforts of life, a condition that should not exist, as it is a recognized fact that agriculture is the basis of all our prosperity."
Uh-huh.
And
Clem was held in Tigg when it started, wasn't it?
Yes, sir, years ago, before the association was formed, I mean, we haven't been able to pinpoint exactly, it's actually, they've been having a livestock show for over 100 years. We haven't been able to pinpoint the exact date that was, but the association itself was formed in 20, and the first Freestone County Fair underneath the Freestone County Fair Association was in 1922.
And the livestock shows that they had before were for the youth?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
But when the fair was formed, it was formed for all the people of the county to gather and bring their goods to town and exhibit it to have a gathering of community for everyone to come and everybody to be a part of and see what goods other people in the community have produced and to help educate one another on what this one's doing, why they can grow this and it's better than what I'm growing over here and stuff like that. And I know for me, I do what I do because to me it's important. I grew up, as many of y'all know, agricultural background. And my opinion is that we do it to promote the agricultural way of life through teaching, education, and hard work to the youth so we may raise the leaders of tomorrow. We're trying to raise people to be in the spot that y'all are in. We're trying to raise youth that will be in the spot I'm in one of these days. And I know there's not a person sitting here that's going to get to see another 100-year celebration, or maybe there will be, but I don't feel like there'll be anybody sitting here today that's going to see another 100-year celebration. And I think that I am, as well as I know y'all are, trying to preserve the heritage and history of Freestone County, and I want to see it, try to put things in motion for it to be here another 100 years for our community. It's been here a long time, and it's part of what this county is. So,
How much do you, on your wish list, how much do you think all this is going to cost?
just the extra that I feel like that it's going to cost, which we're working on budgets and trying to get all that stuff done. As y'all well know, the 2021 fair was just over the third week in June, and so we've kind of hit the ground running for 22 and still trying to get 21 closed out. Wish list over, above, and beyond what we normally spend, I kind of feel like tentatively it's going to cost somewhere in the neighborhood of $40,000 to advertise it from I know that social media is a big deal now, but I still feel like the way to get moms and daddies to the fair is through them kids. So as y'all well know, and you know, a kid see a sign in the yard somewhere that with a picture of Ferris wheel on it that says, "Come to the fair." Well, they're gonna wing dang the heck out of mom and daddy, so they're at that fair. And when they do that, we've done our job to try to carry this thing into the future. So that's kind of what I feel like it's gonna probably.
You'll be asking from some other places for funds, so you just, whatever we can do.
Anywhere I can get it from down to me, and I'm broker than anybody here. Down to, so, yes, sir.
When do you think we could have an earlier fair when it ain't so hot? And also to help the kids on animals to go to another show after the fair, have a chance to sell them some other show?
Yes, sir.
That'd be a big deal for those kids to have it early like the rest of the county really do.
Yes, sir. I do two things, Mr. Oaks.
At least it's not still August. We did move up.
He's just harassing me.
No, me.
We moved it from August to June, and it gets hot in June. We do feel like that. I feel like Freestone County is a pretty unique place, And I feel like that Freestone County is, best place in the world to live. I think we got the best people in the world in Freestone County. I don't know if I'm fortunate and blessed, but I get to go a lot of places and see a lot of things, and be a lot of places. And I don't know of any place in the world. I mean, I grew up here, but this is where I choose as a grown person to hang my hat. And so in saying that, our county fair is kind of unique because we don't do like everybody else and hinge and ride off of, hey, we're gonna, and kids have these animals that they're showing at the major shows and all that. And then if they aren't good enough to make it there, well, they'll just bring them on down there to the county and trade. Our deal is kind of set up where, and you have to kind of have an animal for our county. And that's what I feel like will make us unique, and I feel like that's why during the livestock show we have the quality of animals that we have at our county show, because you're not bringing your animal that didn't work somewhere else. You're bringing your number one, ace number one, because I know we're fortunate and blessed enough when my son was showing to have been very successful at the fair. And
We're blessed with the people that come to support the youth.
absolutely, absolutely. So I cherish those things, and that's kind of why we have it when we have it.
Let me put my little 2 cents worth in. That's probably what it is, 2 cents worth. But I am so appreciative of the people that work at the fair.
Oh, I am too.
There is no telling how many hours and how much money that they put in to trying to keep this thing going for the youth and for the adults too. We have just as much fun as the youth do out there, but we appreciate what y'all do. We really do. I know we don't say it enough, but I see the hours and the work that y'all put in, and it's not just that fair time. It's all year when you're working and doing things. So thank you for coming today. You want to sum up something for us there?
Thank you. I just want to say thank y'all for hearing us, and I'm gonna go give you one more quote from the past.
Okay.
It's your fair. Will you be there? Thank y'all. I
Thank you.
appreciate y'all's time this morning.
Thank you for coming.
Y'all have a great day.
Thank you.
That's
No,
all.
no.
Thank you.
All right. Now, we'll go through the minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of August 4, 2021, regular meeting.
Is this, do we have a meeting after this one?
August the 4th,
We're going to.
we were going to.
We have one right before this. Okay.
We have a motion and a second.
Did somebody second?
I'll second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item number 1 is budget transfers and amendments.
budget transfers.
Second.
All in favor, aye? Motion carried. Item 3 is to approve and pay bills.
Two cents.
That'll be the next section.
Make a motion to pay the bill.
I second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion carried. Now we're reviewing the payroll.
Still reviewing this payroll here, it says that there's one on the last, very last person. It's got the department, it's got JP, and then it's got.
Should have been road and bridge.
Road and bridge
I didn't
too.
back it up over.
Ma'am?
Sorry, I didn't back it up over JP. Should be road and bridge.
So take off JP.
Yes, sir.
Just mark it out.
All of them.
You can pay him out of JP, it's fine.
She's not.
It has JP
I
Road
probably don't have
and
any
Bridge,
funds
so.
in there for that.
And it's 3, so she won't care.
Yeah. Take whatever I got.
All right. We're reviewing payroll. Is there a motion?
I make a motion. Payroll.
Second.
All in favor, aye? Motion carried.
Who seconded it? I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you.
Item 5, reports. I have the auditor's report for July. Do we have the is your report up here?
It should be.
It should be. Here it is, here it is. And I have the treasurer's report, which is based on this July auditor's report, and it's the one that goes on the internet, on the website. Okay. Also have JP 2, monthly report for July. District clerk, July. County clerk, July. JP3, July. Tax office for July. I believe that's all the reports. Does anyone else have a report for today? If not, do we have a motion to accept the reports?
Second.
All in favor, aye. These reports will be on file in the county clerk's office if anybody wants to review any of them. All right. Burn ban.
I thought Doug told me on your stack before it rained, he's gonna put it on this morning, so don't worry about it.
Okay. No action. Item number 7, special road use agreements. Are there any? If not, we'll go to item number 8 to approve bonds and education certificates. I have one for Ms. Larissa Ferris, JP1 for curriculum.
Make a motion to accept.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Okay. Item number 9 is a presentation of the Butler Water Supply Grant. And it has to do with goals and concepts as related to the program. And he is going to be on speaker and,
Are you there, Mr. Lilly?
Yes.
all right, you may proceed.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate everybody's time on the court. I will do my best to go through this quickly. I know I'm sure you have plenty of other business to go through. As mentioned, my name is Sam Lilly. I work with GrantWorks, and I'm currently the project manager on the project that is in cooperation with Butler Water Supply, replacing residential water meters to improve readings and prevent water loss. This is with Department of Agriculture, and the grant contract number is 7219501. The grant amount is $280,000, and then Butler is also providing some additional funds to ensure that the project is completed. The presentation you should have a copy of. It involves something that has been updated with HUD as effective July 1st, 2021, as implemented by the TDA in working through making projects available to Section 3, which is part of the Housing and Urban Development Act of 1968. And basically for a grant project, it is to the greatest extent feasible. Grant recipients would direct economic opportunities generated by community block development grant funds to low and very low income persons. And as I mentioned, this is just an improvement upon that intent with the use of a few additional tools and some additional information provided to the contractor that the grant administrator, GrantWorks, and the contractor will work out as we move through construction. So as far as the changes, or not necessarily the changes, but the information that's on Section 3, there's two portions. There's Section 3 businesses, and then And then also you have Section 3 workers, and to the extent available, they are provided local job opportunities to be provided work that is funded through HUD. And for more information, there is the CDBG policy issuance 20-01. So a Section 3 business, a few different ways that they can be deemed as such. First, owned by a low-income person. Second, owned by a Section 8 assisted housing resident, or if 75% of all labor hours for the business in the 3-month period is performed by Section 3 workers. And a way that a business can go through the process of being deemed Section 3, there is the HUD website portal that they can register and certify as such. And then there's also, they can apply through TDA. There's a specific form where they can certify they are a Section 3 business. This form has been provided to the contractor with the current project that we have with TDA. And then when available, there also is opportunities for local and regional registry for disadvantaged businesses. So for our project, as far as Section 3, we have the Grant Administrative Services, which is GrantWorks, and already under contract and working. Also the engineering firm, J.F. Fontaine, selected already and continuing to work. The prime contractor, Johnson Lab and Supply Incorporated, performing the construction work. They have been contracted and were allowed to proceed in April of this year, and they do not have any subcontractors hired, or do they intend to hire any subcontractors. They are not a Section 3 business at the time, Johnson Lab and Supply. Also, sorry, I forgot to mention, if you have any questions as I'm going through the presentation, feel free to just interject and I'll do my best to provide answers. So for our project, and for any project, a Section 3 worker, specific to Freestone County, the way that they would qualify is if their annual income falls below the county threshold, which is deemed and calculated through HUD. And so for Freestone County, you can see the table based on the family size. So for example, a single individual with no additional family in the household, if their income was less than $33,000 per year, then they could apply and be qualified as a Section 3 worker. Another opportunity would be a worker who is current or recently a youth build purchase. And the way that individuals can apply or work to qualify as Section 3 is they can sign up through workintexas.gov. There's also the HUD Section 3 opportunity portal where they can insert their information to be registered. And then based on the Section 3 policy for this project, generally there is a regional job boards that are available where they can find opportunities in that way. So for our project and the guidance that we've been given by TDA and ultimately through HUD is to identify the project area and then identify census block groups that are near, preferably within 1 mile, but within proximity to a minimum of 5,000 individuals based on census data to identify as potential Section 3 workers, but also have the opportunity to be identified as targeted Section 3. And the reason for this is that with the CDBG projects, the grants, the intent is that 25% of the annual grants in the state of Texas be provided to Section 3 workers, and then a goal of 5% of the work goes to the targeted Section 3. And so this is a tool that we have and several grant administrators have developed over the last few months to show where each project is located, and then offer that kind of radius area where a targeted Section 3 worker could be identified based on the 5,000 population minimum threshold. And so, we're tracking the hours worked on the project based on those three categories, all workers, any identified Section 3 workers, and then based on the map, the targeted Section 3 workers. And at this time, for this project, GrantWorks, our labor team, will work with the contractor, Johnson Lab and Lighting, to identify all of the Section 3 workers. If necessary, they only just have, I believe, 4 total people on the project, so there will not be a lot of additional paperwork involved, but for the county, we will work with the contractor to identify and gather all the necessary documentation that is due with this update to the Section 3 work. And finally, just the follow-up documentation. If you would like to gain some more understanding, the revised policy with TDA 20-01, and then also the 24 CFR Part 75 would provide the new guidance as far as discussing the targeted Section 3 and the implementation of trying to reach out to more Section 3 workers and potentially businesses. And then also, just for your information, the county does have a Section 3 policy for our project that Judge Grant signed March 18th of 2020. Are there any questions? Okay.
All right.
If anything else comes up, or you guys want to kind of chance to digest the material a little better, if you do have any questions, I'm in communication with Beth, and we can get anything answered as it pertains to Section 3 as best as possible.
Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Mr. Bonner.
Mr. Bonner, can I have your presentation if you're going to do away with it?
I think that's one of the grant requirements that they do, some kind of presentation to us. Now, just for your information, in case you don't know, this is a block grant, what they call a block grant, and it has to run through the county. We have no liability for any funds or anything. All right. Item number 10 is the interlocal agreement between Limestone County and Freestone County for inmate housing. And just to summarize, it's amendment for housing. It's an extension for 1 year. The thing that has changed is the rate has gone from $38 to $40. Now, they didn't mention raising the other part. Before it was first day something and then the rest.
Yeah,
So it's just a straight 40.
I believe everything else is the same, it just went up $2 on the rate.
But, before they had some for 38 and then it went to 40, it was just a straight 40. And they still will transport for medical emergencies and up to 8 hours,
Yeah, they don't
at
transport.
$15 an hour.
Right, only to the hospital from their location,
Yeah.
not transporting anything else. We still have to do all that.
And everything else is the same.
Yes.
All right, do we have a motion?
Make it motion.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item number 11, Texas Association of Counties Insurance Coverage for Auto and General Liability. Looks like it went down, that's amazing. You want to say anything about it, Karen?
Actually, Judge Grant, it went up about 5,000.
Oh, because that's the new one, and the
Yeah.
writing is the old one, never
Yeah.
mind.
It did go up about 5,000.
As you can see, some of the different areas went up, some went down, so there was an increase of about 5,000. I was reading that backwards.
The one that went up actually was the law enforcement liability. That went up. Everything else, kind of stayed the same. Yeah. That one went up the most, but
discussion on the insurance. Have a motion?
Make a motion. For insurance coverage of all general liability.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. This is closed. Will we pass this on around to the auditor, please, and then the sheriff will need to sign that too. Item number 12, Silver County Choice Renewal Retiree Medical Supplement. We do pay a supplement, and it's a $275.83 a month. Did that go up just a little bit, or is that the same?
It's the very
It's the
same.
They did tell us this time that we could have some options. Those would be things that would be offered to retirees, but they would have to pay their own. But we've not had anybody requesting additional. So, do we have a motion to continue our current plan?
I'll make that motion.
All in favor? All opposed? None. Motion carried. Item number 13 is an agreement for release of driver's records database to governmental entities, and that is for the auditor's office to review the driving records for the,
All of our drivers that drive the county-owned vehicles, it's no cost. We just do it once a year. They give us, they score all the drivers, and we always.
determine if they can continue on the insurance.
Exactly.
We have a motion.
Make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item number 14 is to award bids for hauling. Have those in your packet.
Make a motion, we accept all bids.
They are all, I went through and checked them all on the sheet, and they all are lower.
In one area, so they all qualify. All right.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item number 15 is to accept the Freestone County surplus distribution from 2020 from TAC Health and Employee Benefits Pool, $22,131. Hallelujah. We have a motion to accept.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Item number 16 is to accept funds from Atlas for precinct 2,
I'll make that
$17,060.
motion.
I'll second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item number 17 is to accept funds from the Texas Feeding Texas Grant, $7,650.80. This is something that we often get for Meals on Wheels.
Make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item number 18, we have completed. Item number 19, discuss appointment of the Justice of the Peace, Precinct 4, due to the retirement of our current JP. I guess the first discussion is, are we going to appoint, or are we going to ask for applications, or how are we going to proceed? We don't have to make a decision today, other than, unless somebody knows what they want to do for sure. Are we going to consider it and come back and appoint someone, or are we going to ask for applications?
What do we have to do?
She's retiring at the end of the year. No, month, end of the month. End of the month. Yeah. We have a meeting next week.
Are we legally bound to do any specific thing?
No, we don't have to appoint, but after reading the statute, it looks to me like, and you may want to look at this, Brian, it looks to me like we don't have to appoint, but if we don't appoint, Shirley continues in office until we do appoint. Shirley? No.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
I I hated to say it, but that's what I read it, how I read it.
You'll appoint somebody.
So,
She's well qualified.
so we can, if you know what we're going to, if somebody makes a motion, we'll address it today. If not, then we'll come back next week. If we say today that we're going to take applications, we can get that started. Or we'll come back next week and talk about appointment. What's your pleasure? We don't have to take applications. We can just appoint. But if you would feel better about taking applications, we can do that. There are alternatives.
Well, I've had several people that are interested in it, just contacted me and talked to me about it. And so, you know, I'm gonna stay, I'm gonna abstain from voting whatever we do right now. Because, I mean, I don't think I should make that decision over, you know, if it came down to me, or nominate somebody to be there, because there's so many people that contact me, so.
So, as to the process, do you think it would be better to take applications?
Yes.
All right, then we would need to get those out. Beth, like maybe if we're gonna put it in the paper, it's too late for this week, it will come out next week, and then it will be the next week that we could appoint.
The other thing is, do we have to appoint?
We don't.
Or do we have to take applications, or can we just let that continue until her term actually runs out?
We can, but she still is the JP until someone is appointed to take her place. And she said, oh, no.
I think that maybe the problem is wanting to know if somebody wants to be in that office.
Would you come up here so they can get your?
I would think that you really do need someone, you have to have someone in that office because of civil filings has to stay open. So that might be something that you can think in, that it doesn't need to, and the tickets.
Well, what we're saying is, I think after reading the statute, and I wish you would read it too, Ron, I think if we don't appoint, Shirley has to continue in that position.
Exactly, too, that too, but I think that maybe what they're thinking in the back of their minds is not having anyone involved in that office.
Also, she's continuing.
Right.
She's in.
Well, I understand that, but I'm thinking that maybe that's what they're thinking.
I know.
That also, but it has to stay open. There's no way around it.
And I have to have a judge hearing.
But we have to.
Do what now?
Can I say something?
Yes, come up here and you can say something. We're not gonna put you on the spot.
Okay, I would like to introduce myself. Some of you already know me. I'm Lisa Hendricks. I worked with the county for 21 years, Judge Mays for 9 years as her court clerk. I worked at the Sheriff's Office for 12 years. If given an opportunity, I would love to step in and take over for Judge Mays. I believe I would do a great job. I've accompanied her to several inquests and observed her duties. I do believe I could do the job and take calls and help the other JPs out as well. If y'all give me the opportunity, I would be glad to do it and strive to do my best for the citizens of Freestone County. Thank you.
Thank you. You want to say something? No? Okay, I know that, yes.
May I say something?
You might say something.
I have worked with Lisa for 8 years when I was at the sheriff's office. She's exceptional at her work, and I think she would be a fine judge over there.
Thank you.
That's what I wanted to say.
Thank you. And I know that Mayor Johnny had expressed an interest.
The point I would bring up is for re-election. Is she gonna run again? You know,
No.
she would have a big, be a favorite if she runs again.
I think she's talking about Lisa. If
Oh,
she
so
was,
yes,
she'll
yes,
run.
of course,
She would
yes.
run, yes.
See, that
But
would give
if
her a big,
you were appointed, you
big.
would not run, is that what you're saying?
No, I would not.
Okay. All right. Anyone else want to speak about the JP position? All right, and so you think we'll need to do, you want to allow people to make
Yes,
applications?
to everybody, not just me.
I am. Because y'all are going to
That'd be fair. Yeah.
All right. then
It's
we'll-
got to run 2 weeks, right?
I don't think so to a point. I think we're gonna just do it 1 week so we can get it done by the end of the month. Yeah, this is a little different. Yeah, this, because we don't really even have to do that, so. But, all right, we'll get that paper, and then it'll run next week. And then we will maybe have a special meeting and see if we can get somebody appointed before the end of this month. Okay. All right. Before we get down to the budget, let's,
Judge, do we need a motion to take applications or just this discussion of that?
I don't think we need a motion. Just the discussion is good enough. All right. Let's take about a 5-minute break.